do things stand now from your perspective? Because there won't be any more reckoning beyond the courts, will there?
Isn't that sufficient? Not any less significant, than the actual voting itself. Because if the actual voting is becomes victim of fraud, of criminal manipulation, then the role of the court is to redress that. So actually, the court seem to have is the final habitat, on the elections. So
and do you feel confident?
Yes, of course. And of course, the weight of that's why there is all these distractions all over the place. The ploy, we had this today, another thing tomorrow. Is a ploy, a kangaroo trick to crowd out, the weight. There are weighty allegations in the petition, and they know incontestable infractions. So what they've come up is this ploy, to deflect, to distract, from the core issue at the moment, which is the petition line before the court. If I were in their position too, I would be jittery. The scripture says the wicked run, even though nobody is chasing him. If you are a receiver of a stolen good, you are going to be apprehensive. So I understand the state of paranoia that they are in, and many of these things being bandied around, interim government, forging something. It's all part of a ploy, to diffuse, what is going on with the courts.
Well, to be entirely fair, I understand what you're saying about them, the other side, reacting to your description of them as reacting to your petition in court. But beyond those people who you would expect to react, there's been a whole slew of independent senior advocates of Nigeria who have examined the grounds on which you filed your petition and are saying that you don't really stand a chance.
Charles, I'm surprised you are bringing it up.
Well, I'm simply airing the other side.
You said a set of signs, so we also have the same number. If no one number of signs,
I like that.
We take, Well, as I said, I've seen the petition, I've gone through it, and I've seen a lot of evidence. It is not
to be trifled with.
It is not contestable. It will take, I don't know how to put it, an unconscious, or somebody who lacks conscientiousness as a judge to rule, otherwise it's too brazen. It's like 1 + 1 is 2. It's as clear as that. So
what is the sequence of events now? Are you getting any sense of when this will come up in the tribunal?
Of course, within this week or next week, the case will start, at the tribunal and then the appeal court.
Right.
So it's not. We are fully prepared and ready for. We have a solid case. They were so careless, and reckless in the manipulation of the results that you don't need the primary school boy who tell you that there's something wrong here.
Well, let's talk about the corners of the picture then, because you talked about what you described as distractions and all the things that are going on, but those things are going on, and therefore they fall within the news space. Let's talk about the audio leak of a purported private conversation between Peter Obi and Bishop David Oyedepo, in which Mr. Obi is alleged to have described the elections as a religious war. The Labour Party, your party, says it's a deep fake of Mr. Obi's voice concocted by the APC. Tell us more about your line of argument there.
There's nothing to add to it. A concussion is a concussion. Now look, I don't know if, you must have been following the CNN of recent, and it's a coincidence. I'm sure that you will have had the news that on the negative potential of artificial intelligence. And it's been led by
we did something on it last night.
Exactly.
On this program.
This is precisely the reason they were calling for a ban, a temporary ban on the development of artificial, because it can serve these kind of devious purposes.
They're called sound alikes, that part of artificial intelligence. But there's no evidence that yours, I mean, you haven't presented incontrovertible evidence that yours was a sound alike rather than him.
It's you that you are presenting it. The onus is on you to prove that it is authentic. Not if you say it's okay, prove that it is authentic. I'm saying that it is not, right? It's and let us see. As a matter of fact, it's a good occasion for you to bring out those behind it, because that is very important.
Yeah, but
those will be the concussion.
They're not in a court of law. You're in a court of public opinion.
Yes.
And when it comes to public opinion, people can easily be influenced by simply the existence of that tape. So the onus is on you to come out and say that this is not true.
That is precisely what you have said.
Yeah.
And I remain, in that position. Weaponization of religion, right, was actually introduced to Nigerian politics in this electoral cycle, by those who came up with the ticket of this Muslim ticket. Pray. How are people expected to react to that, right? I don't believe in religious politics, but look, we are looking to balance your ticket, right? And the best way you think you can balance it, right, is to do that which is, offensive, objectively offensive to a segment of the people. Will you blame any Christians of the North to see himself as being under siege by that kind of ticket? It's an offensive. Those are the people who are actually triggering a religious war in the country. They came out, they institutionalized it. It wasn't that they were talking about it on a phone. That was their ticket. Religious division, the weaponization of religion. That is what the ticket they gave us. It is like doing the wrong thing to attain, for them, the end justifies the means. That is the attitude of taking. You are inviting people to see you as a champion.
The APC have, of course, they pounced on this, accusing Mr. Obi of promoting a religious agenda. Questions, of course, being raised on the other side of how such a private conversation went public, because it is, of course, illegal to record someone's phone call without their consent. But nevertheless, it is now in the public domain. And you have to admit that it raises uncomfortable questions for your candidate.
Yes, well, that is precisely that. Look, let us put it in a context, the political context within we are in. Look, first and foremost, were it to be true, it was said to have been recorded somewhere around Christmas last year. If you have that kind of item with you, is it more reasonable or is it more useful for you to use it before the election or after?
Well, it depends on when you got your hands on.
No,
that's the answer to that question.
No. Listen, those who have the capacity to do that, right? I don't know. They are working in concert. It's like a choreograph with what they are doing, with the others are doing. My own belief is that it is a concussion. When the weight of the petition, probably their own lawyers have been saying, look, you have a bad case. Go and look for things that can serve as powerful distractions or deflections from what we are doing, to agitate the mind of people. And to a large extent, whoever is the devil incarnate behind that, you've got to give it to him. The manipulation of opinion to achieve.
But did that conversation take place?
No.
Because the reason I asked that is you could make the argument that the conversation, parts of it were doctored, but or not. But the point is, did it actually take place?
No, it didn't take place. That's what I'm saying. Look, that was
saying that from start to finish. It doesn't. It's not. It's a completely manufactured tape.
Yes, it is.
Right. So, are we likely to see Peter Obi come out and publicly clarify, as you are doing, whether this is fake or not, rather than having you or some other person who represents him come out and do it?
I don't think that he should do that. He will just be giving oxygen to the mischief. It's not. I've told you the purpose is meant to serve. Did you, all through the campaign, did you hear him in a slip of tongue refer to anything near that, anything divisive of Nigeria? The first thing he will tell you, don't vote for me because I'm Igbo. Don't vote for me because I'm a Christian. That is the standard line in his campaign rhetorics. Not one. There was no slip of tongue. If you are the kind of people they are portraying in that tape, you will have not been that. So this is what we are dealing. I will not advise him to speak to what. He will just keep. I've stated the position of the campaign, of course, which is knowledge. So what purpose will it serve by him to saying that, look, it's trash, But as I said, it's a devious ploy, to agitate the minds of the people to, and of course they are not just doing that. They are doing so many things alongside it. Interim government, treason. These are the words that are being
well, let me come to that treason bit, because I'm sure you heard the latest warning from the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, to the Labour Party's presidential candidate, your candidate, Peter Obi, against causing an uprising in Nigeria over the 2023 election results. He suggested that Mr. Obi and his running mate Dati Baba Ahmed have been saying that Nigeria's democracy will come to an end if Bola Tinubu is sworn in on May the 29th. Mr. Mohammed suggested that Mr. Obi was trying to incite an uprising in Nigeria. What's your reaction to that?
Mr. Obi never said he never said that there will be. The only person who made a statement in that respect was the vice presidential candidate. And I remember what he said was that he qualified it. He said on the basis of the evidences available, publicly available, is to tantamount to something of a coup, right? To swear in the beneficiary of such a hodgepodge. That's what he said. Look, what is the basis? Why are we then in court? If you are pursuing the court, all of us, everybody's attention is solely concentrated on this, the court matter now. So what does it, why will anybody, in any case, look, the gentleman who is making the allegation, that is his second nature. I'm sure you know that. People have changed his name to Elijah Muhammad, and he has been doing that consistently. So he's living up to his reputation. But let me remind you of something. In 2015, he was the publicity secretary of the APC. Go and look at the newspapers at that time. Threatening to form parallel government, render Nigeria ungovernable. There's nothing they didn't say. The baboon and so will flow in blood. So unimaginable provocations, just because he had the president at that time who was a complete gentleman. Now does it compare with anything on the scale of what they have said? In 2019, the same Lai Mohammed was saying PDP was planning an insurrection in the country, civil war or something. They are going to start with 8 states. And when it was going to start. So you look at it, when he made that statement, the man was talking off his heart. He was lying. And of course, the lie was proven subsequently. He never made reference to it again. That what I said at that time turned out to be a lie, turned out to be fake. And that is his calling card. So that is what is happening. I don't take anything that comes from him. He was on record about a week ago saying that this election is the best election that has ever been conducted in Nigeria. Of course, when it comes from him, I have no problems. he lives in a world of alternative reality, alternative facts, and bandied it around when it suits him.
The question, though, is, I mean, I understand the points you're making, and I understand your sense that they're trying to distract you from the path that you're taking. But where does all this put the Labour Party and the obedient movement today? How harmful has this been to your cause? Because, I mean, it's intended to get some kind of, elicit some reaction, not just from you, but from the public, and possibly sway their minds in a particular direction, either with the truth of it, or with the malice of it, or however you want to construe it.
No, fortunately, the obedience, I mean, the backbone of the PD obedience, they are the enlightened, quite confident members of the younger generation. So it's very difficult to fool those people or sway them from the path of truth to lie. That is not, it's a challenge that we will take, in our stride. I mean, it will come. There's no, we are up to the challenge. Look, once they are dealing with a different kind, of a political, movement now than what has happened before. Nobody is in there to go and steal money. Nobody is there to go and get position. Nobody is a sense of sacrifice for the country and the future of the country. So when all these things come, the thing that pains me is that it now reveals, the enormity, of the challenge that anybody intending to rectify what is wrong with Nigeria is going to face. Right? Look, I've been trying to look around for a parallel. I've never seen in any country, maybe not in Nigeria, where you declare the result of the presidential election at 4 a.m. Have you? So look, these are the kind of things that give them away. As at the time he was declaring the election, results were being uploaded all over the country. They put paper patch together and just declared the thing like that. 4 a.m.
Well, they would argue that it doesn't really matter what time they declared it. I mean, that's when they got the final results.
No. It's part of what doesn't belong to you. You want to steal something, you steal it under the cover of darkness. That
sounds a bit superstitious, doesn't it?
But that is the analogy. I mean, if you are confident of your winning, if the thing they have done cannot meet the scrutiny of light, of daylight, and they started that symbolically by getting the certificate in the night, where the witches and so on.
And the horned sort of demons and things when they come abroad, eh?
Exactly.
But what is the pathway now to victory that you see for Mr. B? I mean, I know you talked about the courts and so on, but I mean, he came third. And
according to INEC.
Yes, and the difference between the votes that INEC said he got and those that Bola Tinubu got is 2,693,193 votes. In addition to that, Mr. Obi scored 25% according to INEC's results in 17 states, which is below the threshold of 24 states. I mean, how are you going to upturn all that in court?
But that is precisely what we are contesting. Those figures are fictitious.
What do you think will prevail?
Well, what I hope for is for justice to prevail.